That was one of the best hack and slashers I've ever played. Red Candle Games, a studio known for a couple visual horror novels, makes its first action platformer, and I would call it beginner's luck for how insane this game is. But in reality, they just copy and pasted Hollow Knight, right down to the movement speed. I could say this is Hollow Knight with an Asian coat of paint, but this might actually be better. Unlike Hollow Knight, it gives you a dash, triple dash, wall run, and wall jump right off the bat, allowing for some insane movement even in the first few levels. Our story starts off with Yi, a dishonored warrior, banished by his master and left to die. We see some sort of spirit save Yi and lock him away so that he may heal. During Yi's slumber, he hears the song of his relative. He opens his eye to see that it's a boy playing the song instead. The boy introduces himself as Xuan Xuan. I'm gonna level with you, viewer. For the sake of not butchering these traditional Asian names and making the story easier to explain, I'm going to bastardize and Americanize some of these hard names. So Sean here says he usually attracts snakes when he plays his flute. This is the first time he's found a cat in his walls.
He's in the goddamn wall!
Yi thanks Sean for saving him and declines Sean's offer to continue his hospitality. It's unknown how long Yi has been in hibernation, but from Sean's dialogue, Yi has been fully healed and has spent months playing and hanging out with Sean at this point. We return to the village and learn that a festival of sacrifices is about to undergo. The town's mayor, the shaman, lectures kids about the importance of not angering their gods. The way the shaman describes their gods sounds eerily similar to us. Spiked ears, very cat-like. One of the town's inhabitants doesn't believe in the gods, and instead thinks of them as demons. We make the mistake of paying this drunk little mind as we soon find out he's closer to the truth than we think. The tribe sees this alien technology, and it's so advanced they worship it. Right before Sean can step up to be sacrificed, Yi interrupts with some alien tech of his own and destroys the machine. The shaman and the drunk from earlier label us a demon, and we're banished again. We escape down the hole where the alien tech used to be, and turns out the humans that had been sacrificed by this village were being used as experiments this whole time. These aliens are of course the cat people who look like us. They even enslaved some of the humans they abducted and brainwashed them to be soldiers. We kill the brainwashed villagers and make our way to our hideout underground. We receive a faint signal from an old friend, our very old AI assistant. We charge his battery and he thanks us by returning power to our hideout. I was wondering why the file size for a 2D platformer was this large. It turns out it's incorporating 2D and 3D spaces pretty well. Back to our AI assistant. He was associated with us during our original banishment, so they turned him off for the time being. But now that Yi is back, our AI can fill us in on the beans. Yi was once part of a ruling council called the Nine Souls. He was eventually banished for differing opinions, as well as his inexperience. He was the youngest on the council. During the fight with his master, Yi was direly wounded and was forced into hibernation for over 500 years. Luckily for Yi, the remainder of the Nine Souls went into hibernation in order to prolong their lifespan. Unluckily for Yi, the Nine Souls have actually reawakened. This was after news spread of Yi's return. Wow, you're so influential that even after 500 years, these guys are shitting their pants upon the news that you might be alive. I don't blame them. If you told me George Washington came back from the grave after centuries to retake the presidency, I would shit my pants too. The only difference is I wouldn't try to stop George Washington. Remember, this is based off of turbulent era China, so the Nine Souls didn't get their roles through lies and taxes. They got it through feudal bloodshed and taxes. That being said, they are equal warriors to you, and also filthy fucking rich. Our AI assistant calculates which soul would be easiest to go after first. He recommends the engineering soul, as we used to be friends. If we're lucky, we might not have to fight him at all. The Nine Souls each had their own monopoly, which is how they got their wealth, aside from taxation. The engineering soul ran the power systems for these lands. The power systems are in the belly of this underground layer we're in. So we carve out a nice route to the basement and find his hideout. The developers also did Metroidvania right by having us pass through a handful of interesting rooms that we can only access with a double jump we haven't unlocked yet. Clever, clever. I see what you did there. Truth be told, I fucking despise backtracking, but in order to make it tolerable, you have to have a game that does everything else really, really well.
Smoke weed.
Since we've been asleep for 500 years, the only things that have kept this facility alive are the generations of enslaved humans and robots. I like this little tidbit of world building. Some of the robots you fight aren't originally designed for combat. The little electrical guys are just vacuum cleaners, and these frisbee guys, nailed to the ground, are there just to cut sheet metal. But their tools have been converted to deter intruders. When we get closer to the engineering soul, he contacts us. He doesn't believe it's the real and powerful Yi, and thinks it's just a prankster dressed up as Yi.
Walmart Pharmacy, how may I help you?
Fuck you, bitch! Fuck you!
Well, fuck off, you little...
No, fuck you, bitch!
They just got pranked.
Walmart calls security on us and we show him what is good. We finally make it to the engineer's headquarters. He sends his finest general to try and stop us. If you didn't already learn how to parry, now's a good time to start praying. Fuck yeah, what's good, what's good, what's good? After wiping the floor with the Engineering Soul's greatest robot, we've earned his respect and his attention. From our skills, it's blatantly apparent to him that we're the real deal, and welcomes us back from the dead. We contemplate killing him to exact our revenge, but our friendship, from when we were both on the council, can't be broken. We recruit the first main boss of the game, and he makes for an incredibly powerful companion. He's able to upgrade our medicinal marijuana, your damage, your grenades, and your bow. Oh, did I mention he made a bow for us? He's earned his spot in the hideout. We head out to... Oh fuck. This little shit Sean has followed us back to our headquarters and refuses to leave. He was apparently escorted out of the village by the drunk, who was right about their deities being demons. Sean here is such a little shit, he's ungrateful that the drunk basically sacrificed himself, and now the drunk is either dead or suffering in the bowels of this facility. Since both the drunk and the next soul are in the bowels of the facility, we head there next. It's a farming complex, and it's literally just the infected grow from Hollow Knight. You've got projectile bugs, worms, melee bugs, bugs. Call emulation, call it wearing your heart on your shoulder, I call it lazy. Speaking of lazy, I'm skipping the soul boss. Or at least I would if she didn't send me to the bottom of the map. Oh wait, Hollow Knight did this too! So after being dropped into the spider's nest, we find the town drunk, who has been beaten by the soldiers and bugs. He begs us to bring him something poisonous to kill off his disease. We bring him the most venomous insect we can find, and he gobbles it down. Man was not lying. In exchange, he gives us some of his homemade moonshine, which somehow raises our max HP? You heard it here, kids. Drinking is good for you, and bonus points if you drive, too. With this HP upgrade and some new skills we've unlocked, we head to the Farming Soul's hideout. Her goons from before act as bodyguards. Whenever we take out one, the soul comes down from her pedestal to heal them. This is our only time to strike her, making this a very stressful boss fight. The ideal way of handling this is to have one guard at low HP, and then finish off the other guard. When the soul comes down to heal one of them, strike her. The moment she flies away, kill the other guard, lower the HP of the other one, rinse, lather, wash your ass, repeat. Though we offered mercy to her before, she doesn't have as nice of an ending as the previous boss. The Farming Soul has a gruesome end, being the victim of her own brainwashing technology, as her and her bodyguards are left to bleed out. In order to get her powers, we have to enter her hibernation chamber and access her memories, Inception style. We see from her memories that she grew up in poverty. She would go on to revolutionize the farming industry for her people by studying plant biology and slavery. Yi kicks our shit in. Yi returns to his hideout to give the news to his engineer comrade. He's saddened that he killed a member of the council, but ultimately trusts Yi made the right decision. Sean asks if we won our fight against our former colleague. Yeah, something like that. Sean might be an annoying companion, but he doesn't deserve to be traumatized. Yet. With a few new moves picked up and some upgrades to our bow, we head towards the next soul. He lies in the westmost outreaches of the facility, and along the way we meet one of his sentient weapons. He's gone rogue since he was stuck in the historian's warehouse, full of influential writings and art pieces. He lost his purpose for violence and now takes up trade as a humble artifact merchant. We can buy all sorts of artifacts and jades from him, which ironically Yi will turn back into weapons. We continue our journey to the historic warehouse and reminisce about life before our multiple banishments. We remember a time with our sibling, playing games and talking about the amazing towers our people have created. We take one last look at the clear sky before we snap back to reality. When we try to enter the historian soul's warehouse, he comes on the loudspeaker and tries to ascertain why we're here. We joke with him as Yi has no intentions of keeping the historian soul alive. This is a good role swap. For the past souls we fought, Yi would initially try mercy, but here Yi just wants to straight up kill the guy. The historian soul, on the other hand, is the one who wants peace this time. I would feel bad for the historian if it wasn't for the fact he grows to see us as a stupid youngin' as he continues to talk over the loudspeaker. What was a kind old grandpa at first gradually turns into a senile murderer the closer we get to his hibernation chamber. As a last resort, he transfers his conscience into one of his sentient weapons and tries to murder us with it. The game once again does a good job of blending 3D and 2D together. But I wish this fight didn't have this futuristic overlay that kind of blocks my view. It would have been a perfect fight otherwise. It has large, telegraphed parry windows, there are openings where you can send him into a stun, and there's even a world ender grab that one-shots you, but it has an insanely long startup. We air combo the shit out of this historian's rust bucket, and then kick over his actual shit bucket. We go through his hibernation chamber to get his powers, and we can see in his memories he was a passionate archaeologist and historian, preserving history and doing good in his field. When he came to this facility far from our home planet, keeping the artifacts and remnants of his people paid off, as these are the last memories of our civilization. You know, for a game made in a communist country, they sure envy rich people. I mean, all rich people were once passionate and caring people in their field, it's just that absolute power corrupts absolutely. Yi says fuck the past and loots the warehouse for whatever artifacts he can find. Wait a minute. Why are the cat people on a new planet in the first place? I mean, we know they abducted people from Earth to experiment on and enslave them, but from everything we've heard from the soldier logs, the souls so far, the bosses, it's that we as a collective group have secluded ourselves here. If you don't speedrun 9 Souls like a maniac and actually explore the nooks and crannies in the open world, we can find logs from dead cat soldiers, who weren't lucky enough to get a hibernation chamber. They talk about missing home and that their clan was forced here. It isn't entirely known what drove the 9 Souls away. When NPCs talk about clans and factions, it sounds like they were losing some sort of world war, or something else cataclysmic. Perhaps the rest of the 9 Souls can enlighten us. One of them calls us first and is proud of us for defeating 3 of the souls so far. But because he can't find the engineer's soul's body, he assumes he allied himself with us since we used to be friends. He threatens him and the humans in the facility, and asks us to a polite duel to settle our differences. The way he talks sounds like he was fond of us on the council, and could have been friends if it weren't for Yi's inexperience. Yi is aware that this soul is way more powerful than him, and declines this duel at first. He even plays it off like he doesn't want to hurt his old peer. The soul challenges us yet again, saying this might be his only chance to kill him. Yi realizes this truth and rushes to his coordinates. The warrior soul flexes and draws a comically large weapon. He then fucking one-shots us. We wake up in his torture chamber. We're zapped and shocked numerous times, Yi slowly losing it. The warrior soul explains that he got that strong from a lifetime of war and suffering. He believes he can give Yi the same power since they were once colleagues. The warrior briefly turns his machine off to give us a break and walks away. We use our remote hacking abilities to get out of the machine. Yi is crippled, tripping and yelling out whenever we try to dash. His parry window is much smaller. Even with a precisely timed parry, you will still take a bit of damage, and Yi's knocked off balance. We walk through the dungeon, and Yi's broken to find out the warrior had been torturing multiple humans and cats alike, trying to hone the perfect soldiers. We find one such soldier in the form of the jailer. If we make too much noise, he'll appear from any cauldron and hunt us down. The only ways to escape him are to hide in pots. Yi, barely conscious while hiding in a pot, thinking this might be the end, has a flashback of playing hide-and-seek in such pots when he was younger. The memory ends with his sibling finding us and asking why we're hiding. He takes this as a sign and pushes forward. We finally find a bonfire. We heal up and try to escape this dungeon. The exit is guarded by some sort of cat-dog hybrid. It begs for us to kill it. We agree to kill the dog and swipe at its head, all the while killing enemies trying to stop us. The warrior soul's torturous training really did make us stronger. We grant the dog's death wish and escape the prison.
Sir. Kunlun.
Very few games nowadays make me feel bad for the protagonist, and even fewer games make me feel sympathy for supporting characters. But this game got me. Your comrades, even Sean, nurse you back to full health, and are worried sick about you the whole time. The town drunk gives us some more alcohol to increase our health and sterilize our wounds. Sean plays us a song on our flute, and it's the same song our sibling used to play for us. And our AI assistant makes plans on how to enact our revenge against the warrior soul. Damn, I know we're cats, but these guys are my dogs! Sean even makes a plushie of us. Sean and the engineer even pulled together to make a couch for us to smoke on. After some very hearty farewells, we listen to our AI's plan and head out to enact our revenge. The warrior soul is at the top of the facility's furnace room. We make our way to the entrance of his abode, and we listen in on a conversation between him and our old master. They talk confidently about how the warrior has defeated Yi, and how he kidnapped the rest of the humans in the village. Yi remembers that the warrior did threaten to kill Sean and the engineer. He probably thought he would find them in the village, and took the village hostage when he couldn't get them. In a rage, we bust in. He doesn't one-shot us this time, he two-shots us. With our enigmatic ability to respawn at the bonfires, we can try as many times as we like. Thanks to the drunk's alcohol, Sean rehabilitating us, the torturous training, the artifacts we found along the way, we're finally able to defeat the warrior soul. On our way back to share the great news, we're stopped by a fellow cat person. They're the same size and stature as us, and even claim to have the same power to regenerate. We ask what they're doing here, and they claim they're just trying to go to church. Clearly not any good church with whatever the fuck is on their head. His name is G, and he will be our Shadow the Hedgehog, Virgil to our Dante, our Yin to our Yang, left butt cheek to our right cheek counterpart. I try to kick his shit in, but the game won't let me yet. G has no intentions of violence at the moment. He's just happy he has someone who's similar to him and wants to worship with us. We tell him we're not interested, and Yi gets away from the weirdo. We get back home, stock up on supplies, and our AI assistant shares the location of the next soul, as well as where the human villagers are being held captive. With the warrior soul gone, retaking the village should be a cakewalk. The sky actually being a dome, it's heartbreaking for Yi and the villagers to realize their life was a lie this entire time. We free the villagers, and without the disguise we were wearing at the beginning of the game, they treat us like a god. These formalities are nice, but we have to get back to our journey. The shaman gives us a poison ingredient to give to the town drunk as a way of saying sorry to him. We give our drunk the gift and head on our way. We investigate wherever the hell that was. It's clearly some sort of hibernation chamber, but for who? We start to see memories of scientists creating the hibernation chambers and testing it on cat people. The further we travel into the dreamscape, the more we unlock about the hibernation chambers and the 500 years we've been asleep. Turns out putting people to sleep and freezing them for 500 years is unhealthy, and a ton of people didn't make it. These chambers are either a life extender or a coffin, depending on its condition. The only people who managed to wake up after the long rest were the wealthy, who could afford more reliable chambers. That includes the Nine Souls. Yi, in a sense, is kind of guilty. He was on the council and thus had one of these luxurious chambers. We can even see it in our hideout. This also means that Yi could be far older than 500 years if he used the chamber before his banishment. This also means Yi is a rich Sigma. Finally getting to the center of the dreamscape, it's the Dream Soul responsible for the faulty hibernation chambers. Yi tries to communicate to the fellow soul and explains he doesn't want to fight, and luckily she agrees, under one condition. That Yi gives her a quick death for what she did to the test subjects. Okay. Her dreamscape doesn't let us kill her, and transforms her into Ursula. Story coverage aside, I hate this boss fight. It involves a lot of RNG for her attacks. Some attack patterns you can't even hit her back, which is always annoying. Some moves have dodge timings that are so tight it's super unfair, especially when you're 3 phases in. That's right, this boss has 3 different phases, and that's excluding the dreamscape before the boss fight. You have to beat her 3 times, each phase stronger than the last. I know this is a love song to the developers, since they were once visual horror novel developers, but thematically, this fight is all over the place. We painstakingly get through what is the worst boss fight in the entire game. The Steam achievement says this boss fight has the lowest win rate. I'm gonna hang that achievement up on my wall. Yi finally makes it home after killing 2 souls in one trip. The gang celebrates with a hearty dinner, and Yi tells a story about his home planet Penglay. We get some insight as to where the cat people came from. Yi explains that Penglay was similar to Earth, covered in water with some land countries, each country having wars similar to Earth. The main difference is that Yi's people put aside their differences to target a new threat. A plague known as the Tau virus was wiping out the cat people, and that's why the cats fled to this planet known as New Kunlun. The drunk asks why the humans are here, since they don't have space travel yet. Yi nervously says he doesn't know. The way his dialogue comes off, I would say he's doing this cool thing called lying. With our stomachs full and the information expunged, our AI gives us the last handful of coordinates we need for the remaining 4 souls. It's great to see Yi build as a character, feeling guilt for being one of the rich kids and trying to make it up to both the enslaved humans as well as his own people by taking out the tyrannical Nine Souls. It's even more interesting to see our protagonist hide the past from the player. He lets on that he knows more, but doesn't want his friends, and thus the audience, to know. Going forward, Yi tries to take out 2 souls in a single trip again, as 2 of the souls appear to be in close proximity to one another. News has it they're twins. They're in the topmost district of New Kunlun, a lush city that has the strongest security. For a whole city, it seems pretty desolate. That is until... the Tau virus has made its way onto New Kunlun. The Cat Dynasty has fallen. Millions must die. We see news flyers that there's a party at the end of the world, and we can't help but visit. Besides, where did all the uninfected, healthy cat people go? You know what, I'm gonna skip this boss fight. Yi wins undefeated, and all the uninfected cat people didn't do any drugs, and all lived happily ever after at the end. You know what, the only thing appropriate I can scrounge up from this boss fight is that people's true colors come out when faced with annihilation. And to see these rich people spend their last days shooting it up and not helping the problem at hand, this kind of sounds accurate. Be more like Yi, a rich person that kills other rich people. On our way back to the hideout, we get another memory of our sibling, who we learn is named Heng. The memory is of us creating the hacking device we use throughout the game. The first version went catastrophic, with Yi being heavily wounded. The same spear from before entombs both Yi and the crying Heng. It's implied that Hang's sorrow somehow brought forth the spirit and revived Yi. We wake up back at the hideout. Our engineer truly questions if all this violence is really necessary. Yes. Our AI assistant informs us that a soul was in the area when we took out the twins. In a twist that everyone saw coming, our edgy counterpart, the foil to our muffin, G, was a soul all along. I know, shocker, G's hideout is a literal temple that he worships in. He worships the same spirit that saves us, giving us yet another thing we have in common. Apparently it saved his life too, which is why both Yi and G can respawn at bonfires. Before attacking G's room, we scavenge the ancient tablets he has in his temple to find out more on the council. Yi learns something about the 9 souls that never dawned on him, that there were a previous 9 souls. The previous council was led by one of Yi's former mentors, and the man who gave us our movement abilities today, Lear. We see an old hologram of Lear with the old council deciding what to do about the ensuing Tau virus. Lear gave all the other lands their technology, including their nuclear technology, medical tech, everything, in order to speed up research and stop the virus. The previous 9 souls thought the idea of sharing their tech was preposterous and had Lear expelled from the council. The plan to jump planet was enacted. The hologram ends with the council talking about some sort of nuclear option to get rid of the infected. We go to the right of the hologram to find one such nuclear device. Even Yi is skeezed out by this thing, but if it means destroying the 9 souls, then he'll hold on to it. G catches on to our plans and we're locked in his room. Only one of us can leave. G has been alive far longer than Yi, and shows him his true form. It's just him but taller. In a battle between beings that can respawn and live forever, it's pretty epic. When G takes critical damage, he can teleport and spawn bonfires, black holes, and even use power similar to us. This is what the bosses must have been seeing when we fought them, and man, we were fucking cool. The full story of our home planet, according to the temple walls. Our people lived in a turbulent era. All countries at war, but one man, Lear, would lead his people to an island far away from the bloodshed and have his people focus on science. Their people created technology the galaxy had never seen. Teleportation, space travel, wound regeneration, hibernation chambers, lifespans that could go on for centuries. Meanwhile, the outside world was laying down their arms to put an end to the turbulent era, and together all the nations would fight a common enemy, the deadly Tau virus. With no cure in sight, Lear opens his doors to the world so that a solution can be made. The council that Lear had set up holds a coup against him, as they don't want their own country's science and peace to end. Instead of banding together with the rest of the world to find a cure, the 9 souls and the wealthiest in the land rocket into space to leave their dying planet of Pangalay. They go to inhabit a neighboring hospitable planet they would name New Kunlun. Where does Yi fit into all this? At the time of the old council being overturned, our former master would promote Yi as he had the ability to respawn, and thus would care about the future more than anyone else, since he was guaranteed to see it. It was Yi and the master who decided it was best to leave Pangalay and inhabit a new planet, New Kunlun. The council, in outrage that the young Yi would be the one to help make the decision, all criticize him except the engineering soul and the warrior soul. Yi explains that the travel will take several years, and has the Dream Soul work on the hibernation chambers. The Dream Soul lies and says the hibernation chambers are going well, when at this time they were still faulty. They realize they will need more labor and different plant life to terraform New Kunlun, and Yi makes the decision to take the manpower and plants from Earth. Yi was the one who made the decision to abduct humans. He makes an even more insane remark, and claims that everyone on Pangalay can be saved. The council erupts in chaos. The master calms everyone down, and convinces everyone to go along with the plan for the time being. Later, when the migration to New Kunlun is halfway through, the master and the rest of the 9 souls go against Yi's plan, as they don't have nearly enough resources to save everyone. The 9 souls abandon most of Pangalay's population to die of the Tau virus on the planet. Among them are Yi's parents and his sibling, Hang. Yi tries to kill his master, but is utterly unsuccessful, kicking off the events of the game and bringing us right here. We return home, but little do we know, it would be what the game calls the point of no return. There is no turning back. We play one final chess game with Sean, have one final drink with the town drunk, chat about the past with our AI assistant, we buy some final upgrades from the sentient weapon who saved us from the dungeon, and we head into the heart of New Kunlun to find the last soul. Using G's treasures from his temple, we're able to unlock the heart of New Kunlun, which is a laboratory. Inside, we find recordings that our master actually tried to stop the Tau virus, and knew it was on the ship transporting us to New Kunlun. Our master tries replicating Yi and G's respawn abilities, but is unsuccessful. She tries holding the virus at bay, but is unsuccessful. She looks into the origin of the virus itself, and it turns out it's like a hive mind. The user still retains its memories and is connected to everyone else, but their body becomes zombified. On top of that, their body and mind essentially live forever. In our master's eyes, this is the closest thing to Yi and G's immortality, and wants it not only for herself, but the rest of New Kunlun. The way her dialogue comes out makes it sound like she knows there's no stopping the virus, so why bother fighting it? If your mind is going to live forever in a hive mind, why not embrace it? She's basically giving up, going insane, and just accepting the virus is the best she's gonna get. Oh yeah, living with a disease might suck, but your mind can live forever, and don't worry about your body. We enter her hibernation chamber. After some touching words between proud master and strong pupil, the master uses her hibernation chamber to trap us, and escapes to the topmost part of New Kunlun. Along the way, she orders her troops to attack and search every soul hideout in order to find the engineer soul. Yi's defenseless, left to rot in the dreamscape. With so much time to think, we look back on the fateful night we decided to leave Penglay for New Kunlun. Our sibling Heng decided that night she didn't want to leave home, and would rather die on her home planet than live in hibernation for 500 years. Yi sees this decision as stupid and leaves Heng and his family that night for departure. Heng doesn't blame him. Both of them had come to their own decisions. Yi wakes up by being called by a distressed Sean, Trunk, AI assistant, and engineer. We're literally called back to reality by our allies, and we fight our way back, tooth and nail, to what remains of our hideout. The portraits, jades, artifacts, paintings, plushies, everything we've collected and made together as a team has been destroyed. Rome has fallen. The soldiers killed the sentient weapon that saved our life in the dungeon. Our AI assistant took damage to his motherboard and memory system. He has been broken to his core. He died swinging in order to save Drunk, Engineer, and Sean. Drunk himself lost an arm in the whole ordeal. The shaman from the village dies in the crossfire. With the shaman's last words, she makes Drunk the new leader of the village. Yi orders the gang to get to the escape pods and chart a course for Earth while he deals with his former master. Before our engineer leaves, he offers to take the nuclear device Yi got from the temple and turn it into a proper weapon. The remaining villagers and Yi's gang are ushered into the escape pods. Yi watches them depart for Earth. Yi readies his bow to hold the tiny nuke so that he may use it in his final battle against his master. Yi asks Engineer how far away they are at this point. The engineer says they're hundreds of kilometers away by now, and his signal is breaking up. Yi is happy and says goodbye to his gang. Sean is heard crying in the background. Yi, and also me, don't understand why Sean is upset that Yi is staying behind. Sorry, but I have to bring this up, this one gripe with the story, because it's my only gripe with the game. Sean by this point has learned that Yi was the one who decided to abduct humans, and thus separate Sean from his parents and cause all the bloodshed that would happen to his home, and he still begs for Yi not to go? Maybe someone else could have more sympathy for Sean, but when even the main character doesn't understand Sean's sympathy, you know something's not right. I just had to bring that up because everything in this entire story is so well written, so perfect, that this is the one thing keeping the story from being one of the best in Metroidvanias. I just had to lash out for a second, sorry. Ultimately, it doesn't detract from the game as a whole, and we're about to see the ending is perfect too. This is some anime shit. The Tau virus can't spread to humans, and with Yi detonating the nuke on New Kunlun, he effectively finished off the virus. The game ends with humanity continuing on Earth. I also like the tidbit that because a cat freed humanity, it's why the Egyptians worshipped them. I don't know, I thought that was a cool game thing. There's a ton of side quests I skipped over for the sake of covering the gargantuan main story. Hell, I even skipped over some of the main story. There's a whole B-plot with the Shanghai bot companion, the sentient weapon has a brother you can save all the Shanghai bots you destroy throughout the game, and so much more. The game as a whole is near perfect. I already gave Hollow Knight a perfect score, and this is just that but better. That's right, I think this is better than Hollow Knight. Granted, this did just follow the same formula, but I thought Hollow Knight was way too short. So more of the same, please. The game is on multiple platforms, but Steam on PC is where I played it. If you played Hollow Knight, or if you're a fan of Metroidvanias in general, it is mandatory you played this. Such cum, sweat, and tears was put into this. And if you don't play this, you're a filthy Fang Shi. Before I rant any further, we'll end it there, and I'll see you in the next story. I spilled some shit on myself. Oh fuck, it was cold.